Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to Your Black World. A lot of you know that there is a consistent concern by a growing segment of black Americans and white Americans and just Americans in general about the direction that music has taken, particularly music on the public airwaves, namely hip hop, which has unfortunately on the radio has become sort of this bastion of misogyny, very self-destructive rhetoric. The promotion of drugs and alcohol, the promotion of prison culture, the promotion of lots of things that are ultimately destroying our kids. And I've talked about this, but I want you to hear from a person who has also been talking about this. On the line, I have Mr. Carvin Haggins. Mr. Haggins is a Grammy Award winning producer, songwriter. He probably does a whole lot of other things I don't know about. And he's out of Marlton, New Jersey. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, man. It's a pleasure talking to you this morning.
Oh, man, the pleasure is all mine. And I'll tell you, what also gave me pleasure was to see your video. You have a video that's based on your campaign, which has the hashtag Rage Against the Ratchet at www.rageagainsttheratchet.com. And you gave a really, what I felt was a very authentic, powerful, heartfelt presentation on video, where you were talking about your concerns as a member of the music industry, as an insider in all of this, your concerns with what music has become on the public airwaves. Now, I want to start off by first asking you, when you made this video, what inspired you to speak up on this issue?
Well, there's a couple things happening. It's like a threefold effect. One Sunday morning, I woke up getting ready for church like I normally do, and I just heard a word say, "You need to go against radio now." And I was like, "Whoa, I'm about to bite the hand that's been feeding me for years, but I gotta move. If the words say move, then I gotta move." So I was moving on it, but very gingerly taking my time with it. And then I went to a concert, and at this concert there were children in the audience. So it was a rap concert, and it was for new artists, and there were kids in there from 8 to about 21, and then there were adults from about 21 to 35 maybe. Every song was B, whore, F that, F this, and I'm looking at the 8-year-old kids in the crowd. Another group comes on stage. They have strippers on stage that's twerking, booty shaking, and all of these little kids are in the crowd. They got their camera phones out, videotaping all of this stuff. And I'm like, man, am I the only one in this room that feels that something's wrong? And is it just me? Am I crazy? So, I left there again thinking like, okay, something has to be done. And the third thing that happened, I was working in a beauty salon. I was just taking some pictures for the first lady of the church. And on the radio, Beyonce's song, Partition came on. And this song is the most erotic song ever. She's talking about oral sex and, Jay-Z or her husband, Monica Lewinsky, and on her blouse, all of this stuff. And I look, and there's a little girl. She had to be between the ages of 4 and 6. This little girl is doing her sexiest sashay that she could possibly do at that age, singing this song, lyric for lyric.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, this can't be. This has to stop right now because she's in training.
Wow. It's real interesting. One of the points that I've made to people is that every time your child takes anything into their mind, they're being educated. They're being trained into adulthood. And I said, so let's really look at what education they're receiving when they turn the radio on each morning. And I said, well, the first thing that they learn in many hip-hop songs especially, but also, as you mentioned, it's not just hip-hop anymore. It's actually spreading out. One of the first things they learn is ultimate disrespect for women. Women are taught to disrespect themselves. Men are taught to disrespect women. Even at the Negro Entertainment Awards, which used to be called Black Entertainment Television, I think we need to call it Negro Entertainment Television. You saw Chris Brown singing about how these hoes ain't loyal and all this other stuff, and it was just so funny to me because I said, wait a minute, a few months ago they were talking about black girls rock. Now it's these hoes ain't loyal. And so they're just playing both sides of the fence. God bless them. We'll talk about BT more in a minute. But then the other lesson that they learn is If you're a black man, you're supposed to carry a gun and not be afraid to use it. Killing another black man is the ultimate show of manhood in many
Yeah.
of these songs. Nobody stops that. You can't go around rapping about killing Jewish people or or something like that. But you talk about killing black people all day. These executives think that's okay, even though those of us who have been up close and
Yeah.
personal and seen these things happen, we know how real this is.
Right.
And one of my arguments is that those executives who are putting this music out, who are helping to push it, they're not living in these neighborhoods. They're not having their relatives get shot up.
Right.
So for them, it's just entertainment. But for those who are seeing it up close, it's real. It's
Right.
reality. So a couple other messages. Drugs and alcohol. You want to be high and drunk as much as possible. That
Right.
is that's a good thing. That's something to brag about. Next, if you get money, you don't invest it. You don't build wealth. You waste it. You go to the club and make it rain. And I
Yeah.
think just a couple weeks ago, yet another person went to the strip club and dropped $100,000, and they were
Right.
bragging about it. And that's like a way to get publicity. And I was like, that's nothing to brag about, because
Right.
you really do have guys that imitate this. Like, yeah, man, I went to the club and I dropped X number of dollars, and it's like, dude, you need to be saving that money. And you just keep going down the list, and it's really
Yeah.
feeding into this, this culture that is destroying our people, putting our kids in prison, putting them in caskets, etc. Now, I want to ask you specifically about this. Speaking of, biting the hand that has fed you, tell me this. When you talk about BET and the power that it has become, the BET Awards had more viewers this year than it's ever had. How do you, when you make this sort of critique, how do you as a person inside the industry deal with the fact that you're going to lose friends because of the things that you're saying?
Well, I'm not here to make friends. I never was in this business to make friends. I was in it to make music. And I was excited about making music that can change hearts and minds of the people, to let them see that love is serious and love is real. And just to kind of heal us and build us in a way that the music of our predecessors did for us. So, losing friends, if my opinion about what's being created loses you as a friend, then you never was a friend from the beginning. And that's pretty much how I look at it. I don't have concern for them who don't like me. I don't care about that. My concern is for those who don't even understand that they're being poisoned right now. For those who don't understand that they're being led down a road that will really destroy their entire future. I'm more concerned about our community. So if I lose friends trying to save our community, then so be it. If I lose my life trying to save our community, then so be it. It's bigger than us. And I think when we look at these rappers and these rap lyrics, they're telling our children right now, live fast, die young. Like Lil Wayne on BET Awards the other night, the song said, I want to live fast and die young, and at least I look good in my casket. What? Like,
Wow.
he don't understand that every kid in the hood is like, Lil Wayne is my hero, and that's right. That's exactly what I want to do. You know what I mean? Those are powerful words. And like you said, if this was the Jewish community, if there was a Jewish rapper talking about the Holocaust and how the Jews could, man, that rapper, we would have never heard of him before the record got recorded. You understand what I'm saying? I think and it's sad that we are the only community that celebrates the degradation of our people. Like that's not a celebration to me. I don't see anything good in it or anything good for it. And even when we look at a Chris Brown and his song "Pull Your Panties to the Side," I want to make you feel all right. When I listen to that record, I'm like, dude. All right, first of all, Chris, you're about 26-year-old. You're a grown man. Everybody who's with you in this industry is 25 plus. You're singing to kids that are between 4 and 20. And these kids are going to take that idea and try to figure out what that means. So if I'm a kid and I don't know what pulling their panties to the side, how do that make someone feel all right? And I'm 12 down to 8. I may take my little niece, my little sister, somebody else's little sister into the closet to pull her panties to the side to see how does that make her feel all right.
Wow, that's very powerful. And I'm gonna read some lyrics to you from a song that Lil Wayne made. And again, I guess Lil Wayne is, I don't know. He comes to mind as one of the leaders in terms of what's happened with hip hop. He's not the only one, but we do know that that he certainly has an influence on what people are saying and what they're doing, and I want to. I'm going to find the lyrics here, but until I find those lyrics, I'll actually recite some other lyrics to a different song that Lil Wayne had, which I remember hearing the lyric and thinking, this is amazing that people can hear this and not respond. And the lyrics basically said, I'll take your girl, I'll make her nut for me, then slut for me, then steal for me, then kill for me. And of course it'll be yo cash, and then I'll murder that bitch and send her body back to yo ass, right? And what was so interesting to me was I think that year the Negro Entertainment Awards actually gave Lil Wayne more award nominations than any other artist on the list. Right. And I said, so you have to understand the message that you're sending to young children when you do this, what you're doing, and not just to children, but really to adults too, to the industry. People emulate that which they perceive to be successful. So, because most people are not leaders like you, they're followers. They just go along with whatever's popular. And I said, so what you're saying, number one, to the industry, you're saying to every executive in the industry, make more music like this and you'll make more money, you'll get more awards, you'll get power like that. You're saying that to every young artist in the industry. Look, your stuff, if you're rapping about education, you're in the wrong industry. If you're rapping about Jesus, you're in the wrong area. If you're rapping about life experiences, you're in the wrong area. No, you need to rap about bitches, hoes, killing, prison, wasting your money, all these other things, because that's what's going to get you that award. And I said, and then most importantly, think about that little 9-10-year-old kid who could, right at this point in his life, he could be anything. He could be Barack Obama, he could be a rocket scientist, whatever, but he's putting that textbook to the side because he wants to watch the BET Awards. Right. And when you elevate and exalt Lil Wayne or any other artist who's producing that kind of message in that way, you're really kind of saying to him, look, if you behave like this, if you carry this kind of swag, if you dress the way he dresses and speak the way he speaks and live the way he lives, then you're going to be exalted too. You're gonna get all the girls. You might have all the money. You're definitely gonna be the man. Whatever it is to you, that means. I said, so years later, if that kid has incorporated that toxic, self-destructive lifestyle, and he goes out and he shoots another black man in the face. He gives some girl HIV because he thinks he's supposed to sleep with every girl in the world, or he ends up in prison or ends up in a casket. I said, that blood is on your hands. That's on your hands, because the same way that, kids in a previous generation were inspired to go to HBCUs because they watch Bill Cosby's A Different World, you're inspiring kids to go in a different direction. So I want to dig into that a little more. You made a very good point in your video where you were saying that, I love this point you made where you said, look, a lot of older people say, oh, that's just kids, that's just young people being young, and they write it off. But you made a point about that most of these artists are not kids, that the people pushing this stuff are not children. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, well, you have to look at it from a couple perspectives. One perspective is most of the DJs and disc jockeys that's on the radio are all 30 plus. 30 years old plus. The artists you look at, like I said, Chris Brown, if we say he's the youngest, he's 26, 27. Lil Wayne is nearing 30. So we're dealing with adults. Jay-Z is 40 plus. I think he's about 45 this year. He'll be 45. So you're looking at grown adults putting out messages to the children. Even Beyonce she has to be 30 plus right now. So you have all of these grown adults giving all of these sexual images, but they're being followed by children. And it's like, as adults, when are we going to become responsible about the message that we're giving to our children? Because even if we want to say, okay, this surpassed the 21-year-old, which it doesn't. But if we say this is only for them, we have to think that that 21-year-old has a 16-year-old that watches him or her. Then that 16-year-old has a 12-year-old that watches them as their hero. Then that 12-year-old has a 6-year-old brother or sister that watches them. So it's just a trickle-down effect. So no matter how much we believe that this is grown-up stuff, it's not grown-up stuff. Because as long as it's freely over the airwaves, then that means it's for everyone. And when the grown-ups are not around, the kids are going to listen. The only reason why I say that is because when my mother wasn't around and she was at work hard at work trying to support all of us as a single mother. I had her Parliament Funkadelic album on the reel playing it and reading the cover. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, we have to really look outside of ourselves and say, what are we doing to enhance the next generation? Or what are we doing to kill the next generation? And these kids are going to take it more serious. Not only will they take it serious, they're gonna go after it. They're gonna investigate. They're gonna go online and find every lyric, every bit of information about that artist. They're savvy enough to go, okay, I heard this on the radio. I remember the words. Let me just Google 3 words that could be in the song, and then the song automatically comes up. And when they get it, they don't get the edit version. They get the dirty version. So now they got to memorize the song. They got to read every lyric. They got to know that they know it, because the next day when they go to school, what's going to be cool is that if they can recite every single lyric to the song.
Wow. Well, what about those people, man, who say, man, it's just music. You know, you're too serious. Music doesn't have any effect on people's behavior. You know, it doesn't have any effect on society. The reason that the hood struggles, or the reason that people make bad decisions, is because we have a bad educational system, because of poverty, etc. The music, you're blaming the music. You're making the music a scapegoat. What do you say to people when they tell you that it's just music and that it doesn't have an effect?
Here's what's crazy, right? So we look at advertisement. Advertisement, the best way of advertising is through music and through jingles. So growing up as a kid, we had Libby, Libby, Libby on a label. And I watched my mom buy Libby products. We had Oscar Mayer Wiener. You know, we bought Oscar Mayer bologna. So the more you hear this stuff, it plants itself in your subconscious. And when you go to buy something, you'll buy that jingle will come to mind. So you find yourself buying Doublemint gum, or buying Big Red because you can kiss a little longer. You know what I'm saying? All of these things stay in your head. So this music, when it plays into your subconscious, it never plays out. You remember this forever. So even when you listen to all of this music that makes you angry, that makes you frustrated. So when it comes time to resolve a situation, you won't resolve it in a conversation. You'll think back to, you know what, I'm just going to kill him. Right, because Lil Wayne said it, Rick Ross said it, Meek Mill said it. Everybody's saying, you know what, the best way to resolve a dispute is by murder. Then you're gonna follow that. You're gonna follow that lead. So I just believe, and even now as an adult, I can look at my wardrobe and go, there was a phase where everybody was wearing throwback jerseys. You know, man, you know, in Philly, we always wore it because we had Mitchell and Ness. But once Jay-Z said, I'm rocking throwbacks, the entire nation of kids were rocking throwbacks. When down south, they said we rocking white tees, the whole nation of the urban community all bought white tees. When Nelly said, I'm wearing my Air Force Ones, the entire urban community went out and bought Air Force Ones. I mean, it's all a ploy of selling product. You know, it's product promotion and rap music. But when rappers say it, the urban community do it. Busta Rhymes said Cavazier. Next you know, every black person drinking Cavazier. Now, you know what I'm saying? It's just that simple. Jay-Z say Ace of Spade. Well, first he said Cristal, and then everybody went out and bought Cristal. Cristal stopped supporting Jay-Z and paying, and Ace of Spade decided to give him money to promote Ace of Spade. So now he's like, I'm Ace of Spade. Everybody's buying Ace of Spade. So we can continue to say, oh, man, that's just music. But I guarantee you, everybody who's saying it's just music, they all go out to the club and buy Ciroc, which I heard is a nasty alcohol. I don't drink alcohol at all. But I'm sure they all buying Ciroc right now because Puffy said, I have Ciroc. So, you know, we can all debate and act like this isn't real, but this music has an influence on our community. KRS-One, Public Enemy, had a strong influence on my life, as well as NWA and the Ghetto Boys had a strong influence on my life. And I would be lying if I sit up here and said, no, music didn't do anything. It did. I'm in the music industry because music influenced my life. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, I just feel like those people who say there is no influence, it's just music, are just lying.
Well, you know, I can tell you as a business school professor that you know I've studied marketing a lot. You know, the people on Madison Avenue that do all the marketing, they're not stupid people. They don't invest billions of dollars into something that doesn't work. You know, marketing does work. The best kind of advertising that there is when you don't know that you're being advertised to. And that's the beauty of hip hop music. So I think anybody who thinks that marketing doesn't have an impact is crazy. It's funny. You remember when Run DMC used to say "My Adidas"? What did that do to the sales of Adidas? And then you go outside of hip hop. But this does affect hip hop. But it's really one of the greatest marketing campaigns ever. Most people have heard the term "Diamonds Are Forever," and I read a great article that described how an ad executive literally started off saying, "Okay, that's the term that we want to use, and we're going to put this in a James Bond movie that everybody thinks is cool. We're going to put this in a song, and before you know it, guess what? Everybody's saying diamonds are forever. Even to this day, you got rappers constantly talking about the diamonds they're rocking." Now, and I'm going to ask you the last question before I let you go, man. I could talk to you forever about this because I love what you're doing, and I want people to go to rageagainsttheratchet.com to support you. What are the solutions? What is it that you think can help to solve some of this problem? You mentioned the music on the radio, somehow that being regulated a little bit better. You know, what solutions do you have in mind in terms of what direction the industry should go into in order to make things better?
Well, you know, one of the main things you just said, I think that radio needs to change. I think radio needs to understand that they are a powerful vehicle, and I think they already know it. But you know, the pawns that are in place are just making sure they get a paycheck. I think that if they change the music that they play, they'll notice a difference in crime. They'll notice a difference in the black community. Because, again, when I say we go back to KRS-One and Rakim and all of these rappers and the music that they were saying, it made you want to go to college. You felt like you needed to go to college. Like when you found out, as a rapper, I used to rap back in the day. As a rapper, when I found out these rappers all went to college, I was like, yo, I got to go to college because these rappers are in college. So I think that if radio promotes more positive black music, and I'm not talking about records that say don't do drugs, stop killing, because kids are not going to listen to that, but records that mean good things, that the core of the song has a good meaning, like Happy, like Pharrell with the song Happy, which was the #1 song in the country for weeks, and it's still being used on everything because people want to be happy. So if radio would allow artists to play that type of music, then that will actually make artists create that type of music because they're only trying to create what's going to make dollars. And as a writer, I remember writing this great record for Jive Records. Took it in, the A&R is like, man, this record is a Grammy-nominated, Grammy Award-winning record. But dude, can you give us something more edgy? Because radio ain't going to play that. I said, what's edgy to you? He was like, man, it's got to talk more about sex. It's got to be. I was like, I'm not writing no records about sex. That's porno on wax. Why do I want to write porno? That doesn't make sense to me. I said, we need to talk about love and talk about love being forever and the highs and lows in love. Let's educate our people through the music on things that they will encounter in being in love. Let's talk about social situations where we are encountering a bad education system, where in the music, we can talk about educating yourself like it did back in the day. I said, so why can't we do that? He's like, man, radio won't play it. So that's the reason why I'm at radio. If radio I just need radio programmers to like really look within themselves, because most of them in the urban radio are black people. And they've been around since music has been great. And they all sit and say, man, music is terrible right now. Yeah, but you keep perpetuating the whole idea that it's good. because you keep playing it and okaying it. So I think that once radio step up and realize that they're in violation of the FCC regulations, they're in total violation of it, and we're going to try to bring that ahead in a minute. Like I said, the movement is going in a great direction. I'm sorry, I'm deviating on different ideas, but I think radio needs to change their playlist. I think it needs to be more balanced. We had NWA, like I said, but we also had KRS-One. Right now, it's hard to find a good R&B artist because everybody wants to talk about sex because they think that's what everybody wants to hear about. So we need better music to be created and played. So I think radio is the gatekeeper. They're the ones that give it to the people freely. We need to stop that. After we stop that, we need to go into the record labels and be forceful about stop telling us to do this in black music, but it's not required in pop music or white music. It's not required to be a killer or a murderer or a rapist or date raping or in white music, or let's just say pop because they want to label it pop instead of white and urban instead of black. So we'll just use pop, but we know white. In white music, it's all, you got the eye of the tiger. You can be a champion. It's like, really? So white music and artists can sing that, but a black artist got to be a killer. You know what I mean? Or she has to be a stripper. Like this new fascination of stripping being, I'd rather have a stripper for a wife than a virtuous woman is amazing to me. But, our music promotes that. And it's enforced on the creators to give that because they think that sex sells and it actually doesn't. Love is forever, not diamonds. Love is forever.
It's so interesting. I remember one of my homeboys talked about how it's funny. Me and him were in New York at the same time, and we both went to Power 105. And I got there the day after him, and I remember talking to Charlemagne the Guy about Trinidad James, and we were debating, Trinidad James, gold all in my chain, gold, And I remember when I first saw the video, I thought it was a spoof. I thought that, I mean, people clown me. They said, Dr. Boyce, you're too serious. This isn't real. This is a spoof. Like, why are you tripping over it? And I was like, oh, it's a spoof. Yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah. Now I see it. Now I understand. And then later on, I found out actually I was right originally. That it wasn't a spoof. It was a real song. And my boy saw he actually bumped into Trinidad in the station the day before, and he said I didn't know about his song. He said I just met him, and I thought, wow, what an intelligent young guy. And he said he was articulate, he was educated. He thought that my initiative, on fatherhood was a good thing. And he said, so then the next couple of days later, I hear the song, I see the video, I'm like, what the hell? He said this brother just put on a costume like a minstrel show and said, I'm going to act like a coon in order to sell records. That is a minstrel show. Understand that. And the last point I'll make on this, man, is I don't think, I think that artistic expression should be protected. I think artists should have the right to push the envelope a little bit, make people a little bit uncomfortable, express themselves in every way they can. And I think that's fine. But what's interesting to me is that, and people will use that banner to defend anything that comes on the radio. Like, well, it's freedom of expression, freedom of expression, freedom of expression. That's the debate I have all the time. When Michael Eric Dyson and I debated hip hop, on the air, I remember he kept going back to that point. And I said, well, I'm sorry, Michael, but when a corporation is telling you, look, you need to change your record, like they told you. You need to change your record. You can't rap about or write about the things that affect your life. You need to write about the things that we think people want to hear. You need to talk about bitches and hoes. You need to talk about killing. You need to talk about anything that's ratchet. That's what's going to sell. I said that's not creative expression. That's not free expression. That is corporate sponsored expression. Let's make sure that we know the difference, because if you notice, and even within hip hop, if you look at Eminem as a rapper, who just a great artist, and the thing is, here's the thing: Eminem will say some things that are like, "Whoa, I can't believe he said that." But if you listen to his music closely, you'll understand that he talks about the whole human experience. He
Right.
talks about things that make him feel good, things that make him feel bad, angry, how he hates his mama,
Right.
he wants to kill his ex-girlfriend, whatever. But you get a sense that it's authentic. It's like I'm just I'm just a white boy from the trailer park who's just talking about my life and my experiences and who I am as a human being. That's
Yeah.
real. But when you hear another artist where every single song starts with the same kind of message repeatedly,
Right.
and there's no diversity there,
Right.
that's not real. That's again
Right.
going back to the minstrel show. And I'm gonna read some quick. I've so went over time. My next my next appointment is gonna kill me. But I'm just loving this conversation. I'm gonna read a couple more lyrics from another Lil Wayne song called Gun Walk. And I want to get your last take on that, man. And again, I know that you've actually worked with Wayne in the past, and believe it or not, people don't know this. I actually worked with him a little bit too. So we're not saying Lil Wayne's a horrible person or that he's a dummy. We know he's a genius. We'll give him props for that. But at the same time, he's a powerful figure, and our encouragement, at least mine, is to encourage him to use his powers for good rather than evil. But here's the song that I want people to check out. The song's called Gun Walk, and I want you to hear these lyrics and ask yourself, if I'm a little boy and if I'm a 10-year-old boy and I'm repeating these lyrics over and over and over again every morning, what kind of human being is that making me? What's that putting in my subconscious? Here you go. And I'm not going to try to rap it because I'm not as good of a rapper as Lil Wayne. The lyrics are like this. Fuck that nigga, hoe ass nigga. Leave that nigga with a toe tag, nigga. Barrel so long you can pole dance, nigga. Run up in your house where the dope at, nigga. Murder she wrote on a notepad, nigga. Light that nigga up, smoke that nigga, stomp that nigga, roast that nigga. I'm walking around with this shotgun and this bitch bigger than me, nigga. Don't open up your fucking mouth cause I'll pull the trigger like teeth, nigga. Shoot 'em up, then leave, nigga. I smell summer's eve, nigga. We shoot first, it's better to give than receive, nigga. Now that I've recited those lyrics to you, I want you to give me your take on what kind of message comes from music like this, and then we'll close on out from there. I'll let you get the last word, brother.
Man, if I didn't know any better, I thought that came from a Ku Klux Klan rally.
Wow, wow,
If I didn't know any better, I
wow.
would, what white man said that about us back in the '60s?
Mm.
That's what I would think. You know what I mean?
Wow, wow.
Yeah, like but if you listening to that, it's just gonna it's gonna make you feel that no black human being is worth life. It will make you feel like the value of life and black life, it means nothing. And whatever you have done to upset me or you have done to even irritate me or I feel disrespected in any way, my resolution is I'm going to run up in your house and kill you. Period. We don't have to talk about anything else. So I know if I was a child listening to that, then that would be the solution to every problem I had. And I remember when I grew up on the corners of 8th and Indiana and Philadelphia, whenever I felt like it was time that I was ready to go do something, I put on Scarface, Born Killer, and that record would get me so amped. And when I step outside of my house, it was like, okay, whatever go, I'm either going to live or die today, but whoever I encounter, they're going to have to die first. And that's what that record did for me. So I know hearing that every day, and I know the music is inviting, and I know it's hard the way, the kids like to hear the music, and I know it's dark, so it'll put you in a dark state of mind. And, you hearing that over and over again, it takes you right there. You don't have to talk about anything.
It sounds like almost like a mind-altering substance, almost like
Yeah.
a drug, like a drug.
Yeah,
And
toxic.
right, it is funny because the rapper Yurima Karama, he said, and it's funny, I respect this brother so much. He actually did 20 years in prison for selling dope, but he came out and he's a great hip hop artist now. And he said the music today, he said that's like crack cocaine for our people.
Yeah.
You inject that stuff, it's going to change who you are, and it is addictive, just like any drug. And if you look throughout history, anytime a community has stopped the flow of drugs, or a country has stopped the flow of drugs, they had to do so forcefully. They had to fight against the dealers and the addicts.
Absolutely.
In China 100 years ago, there was a huge problem with opium addiction, and there were activists in the community like yourself who said, I don't care what you think, I don't care how many friends I lose, I don't care if I get killed in this fight, but we're gonna stop this shit. This
Yeah.
is not going. You're not gonna do this in my neighborhood. And
Absolutely.
so they blew up. They burned down the opium houses. They even killed some of the addicts who didn't want to go along with the program. So they were pretty gangster with it.
Yeah.
But and they had to actually go to war with the British because the
Yeah.
British were making money selling opium to the Chinese. They weren't selling it to their kids, just like
Yeah.
hip hop, right? They weren't pushing it on their children. They were pushing it on the Chinese because that's where their money was coming from. But because people stood up in that community, because people took a stand the way you have and were willing to lose friends, willing to be hated on big time, or be called a hater, depending on how you
Right.
look at it. 100 years later, China is one of the most productive countries in the world, and I guarantee you that it wouldn't have happened if they had not stomped out the opium problem. So that's
Yeah.
what we have in Black America right now. We have an opium problem.
Yeah.
Now,
We're a drug dealer, radio stations.
absolutely,
They're our drug dealers. They're pushing this drug on our kids if they want it or not, giving it to them freely, and they're showcasing it like it's a great drug to grab a hold of. And it's funny because when I talked to one of the guys at Clear Channel, which is Power 99 here in Philly, as a brother, and he was like, "Man, I don't understand. It's the parents. It's the parents." I said, "You know what, dude? We could keep blaming the parents, but the truth of the matter is, everything we do right now, we was not taught by our parents. I was like, it was from our peers and from this music. And you can sit here and act as proper as you want to in front of this white man. I told him, I said, honestly, I feel like Steven in Django right now. I'm like, you speaking more than this white man. I'm asking questions and the white man ain't saying nothing, and you defending him. Not realizing that when it's time for you to be fired, they're gonna get rid of you too. So you're just the guard dog to catch me while I'm speaking. I said, dude, this is a drug that you guys are selling to the kids, and y'all giving it to them freely. And once they get addicted, then you up the ante, and now they got to pay for it. And I said, you don't see it that way. I said, but when they stopped drugs in my neighborhood, they didn't start in Cuba. When Ronald Reagan said the war on drugs, they didn't start in Cuba. They started on 8th and Indiana. They came every week and locked up every drug dealer on the corner, which stopped the drugs from flowing, which means whoever was creating it had a backup. And then once the backup got so bad, then they can actually go and find the drug dealers in Cuba, even though they knew who they were. But in Cuba, Panama, wherever they were, then it was so much of a surplus that they couldn't move. It was easy to find when they went to go look for it. So I said, and that's what I'm saying. You guys got to stop dealing drugs to the community and stop acting like it ain't you. It's you.
there you go. And just like Steven and Django, if you don't move out of the way, we might have to shoot you in the ass too. Excuse my French, but we got to be as every bit as gangster on this as the artists themselves. We got to be as gangster on this as the executives, as gangster on this as all the people making money from the destruction of our children. We should not be singing and dancing to the beat of our own genocide. Well, I want to say thank you, man, for this extraordinary interview. It was every bit as good as I knew it was going to be. I got up this morning and I said, man, this is going to be so much fun because I saw your video was great. I think people should watch it, and I think people should also go to your site and support you. For people that, in case you don't remember, the site is rageagainsttheratchet.com. I hope you'll go and support this brother's campaign. His name is Mr. Carvin Haggins. He's a Grammy Award winning producer, songwriter, and again, just a multi-talented person and just an all-around good brother. And I just respect you so much. Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you, brother. To God be the glory, man. It's funny, we still got records on the radio right now. They probably pulling them.
Well,
man, I'm not concerned with that, man.
Well, me and you both. We both made enemies, so but that's okay because I made a meaningful friend. So I'll give away 1,000 half-baked friends for one good friend. So please continue your work, man, and I'm going to keep supporting you. And
same here, bro.
All right, and for those who are watching, thank you for checking us out at Your Black World. And until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. We are gone. Peace.